Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here today. I was kind of struggling with what to film today, but I've had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to do a palette collection video, kind of walking you through the palettes I have, what I like, what I don't like, what I think you kind of need to have in your collection. I have a very small palette collection compared to some other YouTubers, but this is the one part of my collection that is always growing. I love buying new palettes. I get really excited during product launches. And I want to buy them all. I just want to have like almost every palette. I just want to buy them all. And maybe you guys have the same problem too, so we can kind of talk and share what we like, what we don't like, and kind of give each other some ideas. I have a combination of high-end and drugstore palettes. I feel like overall the drugstore is just improving quality in almost every aspect of makeup, but I do think the eyeshadows have come a long way. I was in junior high and high school way back in the day, and this was mere like a decade ago, like 10 years ago. I remember eyeshadow from the drugstore was awful. Like, it didn't have any pigmentation, it came in really wonky colors, and it was like chalky, and when you put it on your eye it kind of disappeared. And in the past, I don't know, 6 years or so, they've really upped their game and started competing with high-end eyeshadows, and slowly but surely the drugstore is releasing bigger palettes. I think they're trying to compete with the higher end, offering bigger palettes. So I did want to share with you my drugstore palettes first. One that's very old and near and dear to my heart. This is the Comfort Zone palette by Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild has been on top of their game for a very long time. They are probably some of the best drugstore eyeshadows I've ever come across, that are on par with Urban Decay Cosmetics. I hear a lot of people say that, and I will agree that these shadows are very pigmented. The color payoff is amazing. They blend easily. They don't crease. They have an awesome range of colors. I like this palette in particular because it does have so many neutral colors, and then it's got like one or two fun ones. But this is just a really easy palette to work with. This is old, guys, and this is so abused, and I just love it so much. And this, once upon a time, this is the palette that I would reach for on a daily basis. And I usually bust it out in the summertime too, because this warm bronzy gold shade here is just amazing. So I'm probably going to be breaking this out very soon. But I would just across the board suggest Wet n Wild shadows, but Comfort Zone palette in particular is really good. I really suggest looking into it. I'm going to talk about three palettes here that these recently came out in the drugstore not too long ago. These are the CoverGirl True Naked palettes. There were 3 color selections, and each palette has 8 shadows. So, and when these came out, you know, everybody was buzzing about them. They're like, oh, these look just like the Urban Decay Naked palettes. And they do to a point. I would say the first one they have is True Nudes, and this one reminds me an awful lot of the Urban Decay Naked palette, and I've got that right here to show you. I'll talk about this later. This is the original Naked palette. This is the CoverGirl True Nudes, and you definitely do see some good color variations. I could definitely do a video comparing the two side by side. And these are good. I just feel like these shadows, you kind of lose them a little bit as you blend. You have to be very careful or they turn muddy and you just lose them. And the colors are very similar to each other a little bit in here. And then you also have the CoverGirl True Naked Roses, and this one is supposed to be very close to the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, and you definitely do. You get the rosy tints and a little bit of the purples, but side by side comparison, I mean, this is similar but not a dupe, and I don't think these were trying to dupe these Naked palettes in any way, but a lot of people were really excited to see them. And then you have the CoverGirl True Naked's Golden, and these are a little bit warmer. I don't think that these would compare to the Naked 2. I don't have the Naked 2, so I can't show you that. But you do get a little bit of the Urban Decay Naked Original in here too, with a little bit of the golds and the darker taupe colors down here. So I think if you're looking for drugstore alternatives to the Naked palettes, these are something to look into, but you're not going to get the color payoff or the pigmentation to them. So these are nice. I don't reach for them as much as my Naked palette, if I'm being 100% honest. I could do a review on these if you would like. I been needing to, and these have been out for a while, so I guess I just haven't thought to do a review. But if you want to see a review with my opinions on this, please let me know in a comment below. I'll totally do that for you. Another palette from the drugstore that I actually really like, and I don't reach for it as much as I should, this is the NYX Dreamcatcher palette, and I do believe these are still available wherever you can buy NYX. This is just a really great neutral palette. They're kind of like, you get these really, really large eyeshadows. Each shadow is 1.6 grams of product, so they're fairly large shadows, and you just get the most beautiful neutrals, and then you get like a fun purple here. You get a really nice highlight and a transition color, and then you got a ton of different lid colors, and then you got some deeper colors to deepen up your crease, and these are just amazing. The pigmentation on these is really good. They're not chalky, they're not powdery, they're very pigmented, and they're really great. This is a cheaper palette. I think I paid like $10 for it, or it could be $15. I'm not 100% sure, but I do really like this, and I really suggest this one. On the not so great side of the drugstore, this is the Maybelline The Nudes palette. I don't necessarily hate this palette, but it could be better, and I don't know why I was expecting so much great things from this palette, because I mean, they're Maybelline shadows, and in my experience, Maybelline shadows are a little hit and miss. Like, they have some really good ones, and then they have some really not so great ones. This is another palette that if you want a neutral everyday palette that you don't want to buy like the Naked palette for, this would be a great alternative. It's got a nice selection of matte shades, of shimmer shades. It's got a matte black in here, which is not necessarily the best quality, but it does get the job done. I have that on my lids right now as an eyeliner. The problem with this is it lacks the pigmentation, and they're kind of powdery, and I feel like a lot of these are the same color. Like, when you put these two on your lids, they look exactly the same. You'd think this would be a nice all over the lid color, and this would be nice crease color, but when you put them on, they just look the same, and it looks muddy, and it's not the best. Also, this color right here, and then you've got these two highlight shades, these two shimmery ones, and then this one is actually a little bit more khaki colored, but the lighting's making it look white. But you got these two shimmery champagne highlight colors, and they look the same, and they don't really show up. And I don't know, this is just not a favorite. I do reach for it occasionally, but if I could go back and turn back time, I don't think I would pick it up. So that's it for the drugstore. I do have another cheap alternative palette, and this brand was really popular way back in the day when I first started YouTube and getting into makeup. This is a Coastal Scents 88 palette. I'm sure everybody remembers how big these were, and you got a lot of shadows in here. And I remember buying this and being all excited for it, and then I never really reached for it, and I think I just get overwhelmed with the amount of shadows in here. And I bought this after I bought my Naked palette, and when I compared the quality was just not there, and so I never use it, and I really need to, because I feel like this is a lot of eyeshadow going to waste, and I see it in my drawer every day, and I was like, oh, I should use that, and then I open it up and I'm like overwhelmed and I reach for something else. So I will say, my suggestion with this palette and all the 88 palettes, I think they still sell these, they're really great if you're on a budget and you want a lot of variety and you're not too concerned with color pigmentation, like you're just starting out and you're still getting used to blending and packing on color. This is really good, because I only paid like 20 bucks for this thing, and they were on sale all the time. I don't know if you can still buy them. I know Coastal Scents still like sells eyeshadow. Like, they have other palettes now too that compared to like the Naked palette and everything. But this is a really great palette for beginners, except with the fact that you're gonna get a little overwhelmed and you're not gonna know where to start with this. I think that's the problem. And when you look at it, a lot of the colors look the same. Like, this whole row up here looks the same. All the white and highlighters look the same. And all the grays in this second row kind of look the same. And I think that's another problem, but I'm definitely, I don't know, I'm definitely wanting to try to use this up a little bit, a little bit more, but this kind of just sits in my collection and gathers dust. Alright, so on to the high end. This is where I have the most palettes, and I have a wide range of brands and sizes. One I wanted to show you, this was a limited edition. I got it as a Christmas gift. They had it in like a holiday set. This is from Too Faced, and this was in their All I Want for Christmas set about 2 or 3 years ago. It's a quad, and it also has a blush, but I really like this palette. As you can see, I have a huge dip in this gold shade here. There's a really nice matte white, and I also really like that there's a blush in here because I love multitasking products. I love if I only have to reach for one thing, and I like that I can just throw this in my makeup bag if I'm staying overnight somewhere, if I'm traveling, and I only have to pack one thing because I have my all over lid color, I have a highlight, and I have a blush. That's less room in my makeup bag and one little compact, and I just really liked this. So, I mean, it is limited edition, and I know it's a quad, but I just kind of keep this in my palette drawer because, I don't know, it just kind of makes sense in my mind for some reason. So, some other palettes I have from Too Faced. This was in their holiday collection from this past Christmas. It was in the Le Grand Chateau Paris thing. It was in a little house. It was cute. While the shadows in here are nice, they're just not stuff I reach for a lot. And I think the reason I don't use these a lot is because when I want to create a look, I typically have to go through all 3 of the palettes, or I have to pull in other palettes to make it work. And that's just, you know, me. I'm sure other people can do better with it than I can. I do like that they come with a blush. You get 6 shadows in each book, and then you get a blush. And you do get like a variety of colors. This one has some pinks and some purples. You get a variety. This one has a bronzer in it too. You get a variety of finishes. You get a variety of colors. I'm not quite sure. And then you get like fun, this black one, you get like purples and a black, and honestly, I don't know what to do with those. So I don't reach for these like I should. Sometimes I try to pull them out and incorporate them. A lot of the times what I end up doing is I find a shimmery all over lid color, like in the pink one I use like this taupey one, and then I pull in a highlight and I call it good. Like I don't use them, and I think it's hard for me because I can't make a look with just this palette, and that could be something I just need to work on and beef up my makeup game. I don't know. I have this little trio here. This is from Benefit, and this is their Pika Bright Eyes trio, and oh, I love this palette. I love it so much. I have a huge divot in this champagne color. I wouldn't be surprised if I hit pan on it very soon. And then it's got like a matte cream color, and then a very dark deep brown, and this is a little bit of shimmer. I use this as an eyeliner. This is my go-to lazy day look. If I just need a little bit of something to make it look like I'm trying but not trying, and it gives you a very nice like girl next door look, which is what I love about it. And I use it like, it really does help brighten your eye look. And then it also has this like cream brightener thing, but that's just kind of worthless, and I really do not use it. It doesn't work very well for me. But I love this trio. I reach for it all the time. I love it so much. I'll talk about my Urban Decay palettes, even though we kind of briefly mentioned them. I have this Naked Basics 2 that I really don't reach for a lot. Like, I like the shadows, but I'm just not a matte person, and sometimes I'll pull this in while using other shadows because I like to use this highlight shade, or sometimes I'll use these as transition colors, or I'll use this as a very natural eyeliner. But honestly, it's just something I don't really reach for a lot, and I really need to make a point to. And I know a lot of people love these palettes, but they're not for me. So there's that. And then I have the Naked Original palette that, oh, I love this palette. It is Holy Grail. Look how many shadows I've hit pan on. I've hit pan on 2. I'm about to hit pan on a few others here. I'm actually going to be panning this palette in the year 2017, and I hate that I made this decision in the middle of the year because I want to start now, but I'm gonna wait until the new year, or at least until my project Use It Up 2016 is over, because I do have eyeshadows in that. But I love this palette. It's so versatile, and it kind of surprises me because There's a lot of warm tones in this palette, and I feel like cool tones look better on me because of my pale skin. But this just, it works so well. I can create so many looks. I obviously really like these like very neutral shades here, but sometimes if I'm feeling a little spontaneous or if I'm going out to an event or something, I'll dip into these darker shades and just really make a nice smoky look. I love this. I think of all 3 Naked palettes, or all 4 now because there's the Naked Smoky, I think this is the one that everybody should have in their collection because it's just so great. Now, when I'm panning this and I'm sick of this palette, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to change my tune, but I love this palette so much. And then the Naked 3, this one I thought I would really like, and when I bought it I was so excited because it's a lot of cool tone shades. It's a lot of rose gold shades, and I'm trying not to blind you with this mirror, but the quality on this is on par with the other Urban Decay Naked shadows, but I just don't find myself reaching for it, and I don't know why, because I was all excited about the rose gold and the cooler tones, but I just don't reach for it as much, and a lot of these shades all look the same to me, so it's just something I don't reach for as much. And I'm not saying I regret buying it, but I regret buying it. Another favorite palette here, this is the Lorac Pro. This is also used and abused. I've hit pan on 2 shades here. I've entirely used up this shade. I'm about to hit pan on several others. I considered panning this palette next year as well, but I think I'm just going to pan the Urban Decay palette because it's older, but I do really like this. I like the black in here, even though this black has a lot of fallout, it's really pigmented and I really enjoy using it as an eyeliner. I love, love, love these neutral shades here. I can't say I use these over here a lot, and the transition colors up here are just a little too warm for me, so I don't like using them as much, but sometimes I do throw them in. This is a really great palette. I couldn't tell you which one you need more. I think they're both really great. They're both different. You get a really nice selection. Like the entire bottom row here is shimmers and the entire row up here is mattes. There's a Lorac Pro 2 that's also nice. I don't have that one. And then there's a new one coming out this summer that I can't wait for. I'm going to buy it the day it comes out because it's so great. But this is also really nice. I really like this palette. The colors are very saturated. They're very pigmented. They're very powdery though. Like I'm sure you can see, like they're so powdery. So I really like this palette too. I think I would repurchase this in a heartbeat if I used it all up. This is a newer thing to my collection. This is the Tartelette Tease, and I got this in my Sephora VIB sale haul. You get 6 shadows in here. There's a larger palette. This is just kind of like a taste of the really large Tartelette palette. But this is really nice. You get some really nice neutral all over the lid colors. You get some nice brow bone colors and a transition color. These are mattes, these are shimmer, and these are mattes as well. And then you got these darker, like a brown and a purple. I haven't used this too much, but I do really like to pull it out every now and then because the shadows are really nice, and I kind of really wouldn't mind trying some more Tarte shadows. These are the first exposure I've had to Tarte shadows, so I really like the experience. So this is kind of a palette in the making, and this is a palette of my own making. This is my MAC shadows that I have. I only have 6, and I feel like that's okay because I don't really reach for these as much, just because the colors I have are really not conducive to wearing as an entire eye look. I generally reach for my other palettes more, but sometimes I pull this out. So I have Blanc Type. I have All That Glitters. This is Soft Brown. One right here is Sable. This is Satin Taupe. And then this one here is Star Violet. I don't typically buy a lot of MAC products because I think they're really expensive, but MAC just did lower the price of their pan, like these in here, and they're like $6 now, and I think they're reformulating them. I'm not quite sure. So I would really like to expand this and maybe just fill this palette up, but I just don't reach for these a lot, and I mean they're great shadows, but I feel like my Urban Decay shadows are better. So yeah, I have this. Just thought I would share that with you. Okay, so those are all my palettes. I hope this video wasn't too long. I think it might have been, but I'm going to try to edit as much as I can. if there are any palettes in here you want reviews of, or even some tutorials or get ready with me's, let me know and I'll totally film those for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are still watching this video at this point, give it a thumbs up and let me know you made it. Thank you guys so much. I love you all very much. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.